with your sculptures.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, well, it's funny you bring that up. I haven't done sculptures for several years now, and actually this week I started doing some more of those little moth sculptures. And actually, I'll show you. I just painted some wings this morning and last night, so you can see.
They're made of paper.
Made of paper, yeah. Yeah, they're made of paper, and for the moths, the bodies I sculpted the body out of clay, and I made a mold, and I cast them out of plaster, and then I cover it with little strips of paper. So it's tedious work, but it's fun, and yeah. So they're a lot of fun to do, and the moths are, you can see different leaves in the sculptures, and those are the host plants for each species.
And the wood that you're using?
When I do the birds, I use wood for the body. I carve it out of wood, and it's usually basswood. Yeah. And then I cut out each feather and put it on it's very tedious, fine work, but it's a lot of fun to do. I really enjoy doing them.
I would like to talk a little bit about your father. He was a professor, a teacher of biology.
Yep. Well, he was a high school biology teacher, and so because of that, growing up, I was always exposed to all different animals. We're always going out looking for snakes or turtles, he loved fishing. We were always fishing, and we did my first book that I illustrated, which I have right here. Let's see. Freshwater Fish of the Northeast, and that's the only book that he wrote, but we did that together, and he did all the writing and I did all the illustrations, so it was a really fun book to work on. It was a fun project. We did a lot of fishing, research, and that was the first book I illustrated. Well, as far back as I can remember, I loved animals. And I was always looking for snakes or turtles or, fishing. And I was also drawing. And I was doing both of those things. And it was funny, my parents saved a lot of my early drawings from when I was in, kindergarten or first grade or second grade. And they're all animals. They're all fish or turtles or snakes. So I've always loved both those things. And it's just a really good combination for me. I've got to travel and use my art to help in conservation projects and to raise money and awareness, and it kind of feeds off each other.
You've been in a lot of places, Madagascar. You've lived in very hot climates.
Yeah. Well, I was in Madagascar in 2019. I was with the Turtle Survival Alliance, and I was helping survey critically endangered radiated tortoises, and they live in the spiny forest. And that's it's a desert. It's southern Madagascar. It's like nowhere else in the world. And we were in very remote areas. And the heat was like nothing I'd experienced before. It was always hot. There was no real way to hide from it. The sound of insects at times was deafening, and everything in the spiny forest is spines. It's a really amazing place. And I lived in this little tiny tent. It felt more like a coffin at night. It was so hot. But there were giant centipedes and millipedes, and there were lemurs and chameleons, and of course tortoises. And even on my first night, I had a big Madagascan ground boa go by front of my tent when I went outside. So it was a really amazing place, and I loved it. And I got to see these tortoises in the wild and learn about them and sketch and take notes, and ended up doing a lot of paintings based on that trip. I was in Belize a few summers ago in the rainforest doing a turtle survey, and the rainforest in Belize that was my first time in the rainforest, and it's the sound. I mean, it's the air is thick and colors are bright, and there are monkeys and snakes and turtles, and even took home some parasites, which is fun. I liked it. The heat, you get used to it after a while, because once you embrace it, you can't hide from it. And but I love doing that. I love getting out in the field and learning about what I paint.
Help me understand, when you travel, you take Erin with you? She's traveling with you?
My wife, Erin, no, we do travel a lot together, but she doesn't do these kind of trips with me. She doesn't do the turtle trips, but we do like to travel together, yeah. Yeah, usually with these trips that I've done, Belize and Madagascar, those were with the Turtle Survival Alliance, and I was just like helping with some studies, so I was just helping collect data, catching turtles, and we would, record their information, mark them, survey them, that kind of stuff. So she prefers more non-turtle, rough trips.
You have a lot of animals, a lot of critters at home.
We have 13 turtles. One of them I've had for 30 years. 2 snakes. Again, one of those snakes I've had for 30 years. It's funny, my wife didn't think it would last this long, but they last longer than you think. 2 cats and 2 dogs. So, yeah, she'll watch them when I'm gone. If the 2 of us are gone together, I have friends watch them. So, yeah.
You collaborate with Cy Montgomery.
Mm-hmm.
How did you meet her?
Well, for people who don't know, Cy has written 39 books, best-selling author. We met about, say, like 8 years ago, maybe 8 or 9 years ago now, at an art festival. And I had emailed her previous to that because I had read one of her books. And then we instantly became friends, and we started doing a lot of animal things together and going out looking for turtles and kayaking and hiking together. And then we started doing books, and so far we've done 3 that are out. We're working on a 4th and illustrating it right now about caterpillars. But we've done 3 turtle books together. The Book of Turtles, which is a picture book of time and turtles. And the new one that just came out is The True and Lucky Life of a Turtle. And that's about a snapping turtle. That's also a picture book. We've had a lot of fun doing all these books together. And at the time, I lived a few towns away from her. A few years ago, me and my wife bought a house, and we actually live on the same road as Cy. So I see her pretty much every day. And she helps out when I'm gone with animals.
You have this educational guide on your website. What is it exactly?
Oh, yeah, we just put that up. That's an educational guide for educators, for teachers to use in schools. And it just gives them some projects they can do while reading the Book of Turtles, which is a picture book. And it's all about amazing turtles' abilities and variety and conservation, evolution. Extreme Turtles, it's a kid's book, a picture book. And the new one, The True and Lucky Life of a Turtle, is about a turtle named Fire Chief he's a really amazing turtle, and he was hit by a car, and it's about his life when he hatched all the way through his accident, through his rehab with rehabbers, rescues, and to current day. So that educational guide is a way for teachers to incorporate these books into their program and kind of give them some activities to do with those books.
What are you working on right now?
Right now, I'm illustrating a book about caterpillars. It's another book I've done with Cy, and she already wrote it, but I'm in the illustration process, just started it. So it'll be like a few years before it's out, maybe a year and a half. But it's called The Book of Caterpillars, like the Book of Turtles, and it talks about, the variety of caterpillars and how important they are and extreme, amazing caterpillar abilities, and it's really fun. They're really amazing animals. They're something that everyone can recognize. Everyone knows what a caterpillar is, right? But you don't really know them. They're surprising. They're full of surprises, just like turtles.
You are known as the Turtle Whisperer. What's it like to communicate with turtles?
I spend a lot of time with turtles, and especially researching the 3 books that are out. And mammals, like dogs and cats, right, and other mammals, they have a lot more facial expressions because they have more muscles in their face, where a turtle's kind of frozen, right? They can't smile or make any expressions. But if you spend time with turtles, just like our dogs, our cats, us, they're all individuals, and they all have their own personality, and you get to know them, and you get to know, through the way they act and their body language and how they act and interact with you or other animals. They do have strong personalities. What was your other? How is it like to get bitten by a snapping turtle? I got bitten once, and it was my fault. I was taking pictures of it, and I was looking through the screen, on the camera. And then when you're looking through a screen, suddenly it's not as real, and you forget how close you are. And so he bit me. I actually got a picture. I pressed the button as he was biting. So he just grazed me. It wasn't a bad bite. It didn't hurt that bad. It could have been worse.
Do you have a community of artists or illustrators you mingle with?
Yeah, I live in Hancock, New Hampshire, and Even on this road, there's a lot of naturalists. There's a lot of bird people. There's people who do all kinds of wildlife. There's a conservation center in our town, so I have a lot of friends and a lot of researcher friends, biologists, herpetologists, and I do have a lot of artist friends around here as well. Yeah.
I read that it takes about 9 months from the time you start sketching to the final result. Is that true?
No, it's quicker than that. For a book, though, that's true. For a book, you do all the sketches, and that takes, it takes a while, a lot of research, and then from there, work with the publisher and go back and forth with the editor, art director, and then from when I start illustrating, that's usually about 9 months to finish the whole book. For a painting, I'll spend, maybe half a week, sketching, coming up with composition, and then once I start, depending on the size, but like an average painting would be about a week and a half.
Your paintings are hyper-realistic.
With photography, you can go out and you can take a picture of something. You can see something and you can take a picture, but it doesn't necessarily capture what you see. Maybe there's a look or colors or, a certain position. With an illustration, you can experience something and then add all that into that illustration. And I love doing that, like different colors, different expressions, the habitat around it. You can compose the whole thing. So I love doing all that detail, and I spend a lot of time watching and learning about my subjects just so I can make them, as accurate as possible. I like spending that time. A lot of my paintings are actually individuals that I've seen either in the wild or in captivity. So yeah, I do spend a lot of time, and I love doing all the details. For turtles, I love doing all the scales and the wrinkles and the shells.
What would you say you have in common with turtles?
In common? Well, I can tell you what I've learned from turtles. Turtles are really focused on whatever they're doing. Whether it's like eating, a worm or a strawberry or looking at you, they have a really intense gaze. In this world where we're constantly flooded with distractions and social media and, apps and iPhones and texts, turtles have taught me to focus. When we were working with turtles, we call it being in turtle time, where everything else is kind of melted around us and we were able to just slow everything down and focus on what we're doing. So I would say that's something I've learned from them.
Are you still fishing?
Yes, I love fishing. Yeah, not this. So everything's cold here now and winter's coming. So we're in between seasons. So I'm not fishing currently, but soon we'll be ice fishing. And that's always fun.
What are you doing in winter?
I will be doing a lot of painting for the new Caterpillar book. I'll be spending a lot of time painting. And outdoor activities is still fun in the winter. You can still hike and ski and fish and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, this is a really good time, and I'm really excited. I just started this new book, so I'm really having fun, digging into it and starting these illustrations of caterpillars.
You're also taking lots of pictures everywhere you go. Have you thought of putting them into a book?
I haven't really thought of that. It's a good idea. Maybe I should down the road. Yeah. Maybe some of my sketches and stuff like that would be interesting.
Have you been invited to teach illustration?
No, I haven't taught illustration. I haven't really had much of an interest in teaching. I do a lot of talks, though, and I do go into schools and talk with kids and present, what I do. And I even sometimes do paint-alongs with them. So I will guide them through a painting, that kind of stuff. But other than that, I haven't done any teaching. I like to get out and do my own work, and time is limited, right? So I like to spend my time doing that.
Turtles live longer than humans, some of them.
Yeah.
Do you have any provisions for your turtles?
Yeah, it's a good point. And a lot of people don't think of that if they get buy a pet turtle. And a lot of the turtles I have, well, most of the turtles I have are rescues that I got. They're not wild turtles from where I am. They're not releasable. And several of them are turtles that people have had, and then those people have grown old and died, because these turtles can live over 100. It's something that happens, and people don't really think about that. We're working on some people to maybe will them to at some point. So they got to be young enough, right? Because, you can't be too close to my age, or what's the point? So there's a giant Aldabra tortoises. They're native to the Seychelles Islands in the Indian Ocean, East South Africa. And they can live over 200 years. I think the longest on record is that was documented is 288. And there's one that recently died that was alive when George Washington was. So it shows you how long those turtles can live. So some turtles, not all turtles can live that long, but some can live a long time.
So you go shopping for a lot of food.
Yeah. Well, the summer is always better because you can go out and pick things and you can, get worms and stuff. But yeah, I went shopping yesterday and there's a kind of damaged vegetable produce rack and things are cheaper. So I always grab stuff off of that for the turtles. Got to keep them full. No, I've illustrated 5 that are out and I'm illustrating the 6 right now. So my first book was Freshwater Fish of the Northeast. That's the book I did with my father. The second book I did was called The Snake and the Salamander, Reptiles and Amphibians of the Northeast. I did that with, he's retired now. He's a biologist for New York State. It's kind of like a coffee table, kind of like Freshwater Fish in the Northeast, more of a coffee table guide. And that has, 83 species of reptiles and amphibians in the Northeast here in the U.S. Snakes, frogs, turtles, lizards, salamanders. And then the next 3 were The Book of Turtles with Cy, Of Time and Turtles, which is an adult narrative nonfiction about our, 3-year journey in the world of turtles. And then The True and Lucky Life of a Turtle, which just came out. And I'm also working on the Caterpillar book right now, which isn't out, but it'll be out in a few years. I do a lot of gallery shows. I have some work in museums, some museum shows this past year. Yeah, I was just in a show this spring in the New Salem Museum of Fine Art. I think I got that name right. And it was a competition. It was and the show was all the finalists, and it was funny to see figurative or landscapes, and I had a giant pink spoonbill, which is a bird, and so it really stood out. It was much different than the other subjects, but it was great to be in that show. I won honorable mention in that one. Yeah, I've won a few awards this year, but yeah, one of them was in Spain.
I'll look it up.
Yeah.
A lot of people are using apps to do illustration, software.
Yeah, a lot of digital painting. I actually, when I was in college, I did a lot of digital painting. And a lot of it is very similar to traditional painting, except, you have a tablet, and you have like a little stylus, which is kind of like a pen or a brush. It acts as a brush, and you look at the screen and you can change the different brush sizes and colors and stuff. So you're painting on the screen. I think it's really useful tool for illustrators. One thing is you don't have an original when you're finished, because it's a digital painting, which I love. I love the act of painting and putting, brush to paper and physical part of that, and then having an original. So I prefer that, but I can see why, and I think it's very useful and takes the same skill. It's fun. I can show you, do you want to see one of the new caterpillar paintings?
Sure.
No one's seen them yet, so hold on. All right, see if you can see that. So the chipmunk is actually eating a caterpillar. They eat a lot of different things that people don't expect. This is another one. This one's a little too big to show. Yeah, those are some new ones that I've been working on this month. It's a lot of fun, and such a variety of them. They're colorful, different sizes. Some of them have all these spikes all over them. Some are covered in like these irritating hairs, and they eat all different kinds of plants. They don't just eat plants. There's some caterpillars that eat other things. There's some caterpillars that eat other caterpillars, which you don't expect. There's even a caterpillar that I think it's recently discovered, and it eats snails. It spins this little silk web and holds the snail down, and it eats it alive, and then it takes the shell of its snail that it just ate, and it decorates and covers its body with it. So they're pretty wild animals, and it's going to be a really fun book. It's going to be a real colorful, visually appealing book.
You painted only turtles that you have actually seen. What about the caterpillars? You cannot really go out and look for caterpillars.
I've painted a lot of turtles I've seen, but I've also painted other ones that I haven't got to see in person, just done a lot of research on them. Yeah, caterpillars, this book is caterpillars all over the world. So obviously I can't, there's hundreds of thousands of caterpillar species, so I can't see them all. So I'm relying on, doing research and talking to people who study them and, all that kind of stuff because, yeah, the world of caterpillars is huge.
So when you publish a book with Cy, do you guys go on a book tour?
Yeah, we just finished a book tour for The True and Lucky Life of a Turtle. And yeah, it was a lot of fun. We went out west, out to Montana, Colorado. We were out in Maryland, all around the Northeast of the U.S. We do book talks at schools. We do them at bookstores, other venues. It's a lot of fun doing it, and it's great to get out and meet people and talk about the book and hear what they have to say.
I noticed that you're wearing bandanas in everywhere you go. Is it because it absorbs the sweat?
That is helpful when it's super hot out, but I just like wearing them. So that's why I wear it. I've always kind of liked the way it looked. Yeah. So that's more the reason. It does come in handy sometimes when it's hot, but I just like wearing them. That's the reason.
How many bandanas do you have?
Oh, I don't know. I got a lot. I got a variety. Yeah, I figured I'd wear a turtle one for this. I actually designed this one, so.
Do you sell them?
I do sell them. I do batches of them, so I don't have any for sale right now. But every so often, I'll sell them. Everyone knows what a turtle is and can recognize a turtle, but they don't realize. Well, some people do, but a lot of people don't realize just how endangered they are. They're one of the most endangered groups of animals on the planet, and over 60% of them. Species are in danger of going extinct in the wild. And there's a huge problem with poaching from the wild, taking turtles out of the wild. Habitat loss is a huge problem. And turtles are really a foundation for a lot of ecosystems. They're really important animals. And even most turtle eggs are eaten by predators dug up, but even all those eggs that are eaten are relied upon by a variety of plants and animals in that ecosystem, and all that energy goes back in. So turtles are really important. We always talk about in our talks, me and Cy, and at the end of the book of turtles, we have I painted, it's called the world turtle, and a lot of different cultures, native people from different cultures have come up with this concept of this world turtle. And here in North America, a lot of Native Americans call it Turtle Island. And then the world is on the back of a turtle. And, obviously, literally that's not true, but in a way it is true because, like I said, so many environments depend on turtles to hold them up and to support them. And, in a way, these stories have truth to them. Like, for instance, the gopher tortoise here in North America, it's south, in Florida, Georgia, it's a keystone species, and 360 other, a little more than that, I think, 360 at least other species of animals completely depend on it for survival. So it just shows you how important they are, and so why we need to protect them. So that's something that's important for me to get out.
Those who would like to adopt a turtle.
Well, never take a turtle out of the wild. Each turtle in the wild is so important to its population, and that one turtle, if it's a female, it'll spend its whole life in, hopefully a long life, laying hundreds, if not more, eggs, and only one, on average, will make it to breeding age to replace it. So taking one turtle out of the wild is really, really bad really harmful. You can buy turtles, from reputable breeders, but I think the best thing is there's a lot of rescues out there. A lot of people buy a turtle and then don't know what they're doing, don't want it anymore. And there are a lot of places where you can adopt a turtle. And I would say the best thing is to do your research on what your turtle needs. They all need different things. There are water turtles, there are tortoises, land turtles, and even tortoises are different. Some have different humidity, different diets, all that kind of stuff. And then realize it lives a long time. So that's also important to know, because it's not like an animal you're going to have for a few years or 10 years. You'll have it. Well, you could have it your whole life if you're lucky.
What about poaching?
Well, poaching is a huge problem for turtles, and even here in the Northeast, a lot of people don't realize it. But there's a thing called the Asian turtle crisis, and and a lot of species are being poached and sent over there for pets, sometimes for food, sometimes for, non-traditional medicines. So that really don't work. So poaching is a huge problem. It's a real crisis.
How do you feel about people who eat turtle soup and eggs?
Yeah, well, I wouldn't do it. You could be eating an animal, that's 80 years old, 50 years old. You're eating it, and then you're hungry the next meal. So, I don't think it's worth 30 seconds of taste in my mouth to take a life like that.
Is there a favorite book with turtles?
Year of the Turtle by David Carroll. It's a really good book. And then growing up, I think a lot of people who are into turtles did. I loved field guides, and there's these the golden guides. They were illustrated field guides, and I used to, as a kid, flip through those, and I loved all the animals and the illustrations. So, yeah, that's one of my favorites. Even though it's a guidebook, I love that. I can read. Well, when we do the talks, me and Cy, we have a section from our book that we read. I'll read this section from of Time and Turtles. And this is the book where me and Cy spent about, 3 years immersed in the world of turtles. We worked with the Turtle Rehab. We did nest protection with a group. We visited the Turtle Survival Alliance, the Survival Center, and we did sea turtle rescue. So this is a section from the book where we first go to visit the rehab, and when we first meet them, and that whole experience. So it's about a couple paragraphs. I'll read that, if that's all right. All right. Amid all the other homes on the suburban street, white, beige, gray, blue, light yellow, this 2-story salt box stands out. It's a blazing neon green, its flamboyance accentuated by an equally electrifying violet shed out back. The house bears a sign in the front that reads, quote, "Turtle lover parking only. Violators better shut the shell up," end quote. Parked in the drive are a smart car and a black Scion. Both are mounted with strobe lights like the ambulances they are. Emblazed with the logo Turtle Rescue League and with stickers urging fellow motorists to, quote, "stop for turtles in the road, help them across," end quote. The car serves as an ambulance vehicle for transporting injured turtles to the 1,000-square-foot turtle hospital that occupies the basement of the home. Observed by closed-circuit TV, one of several security measures taken because even sick or injured turtles are so valuable on the black market that patients here could be targets of abduction. Cy and I mount the steps to the wooden deck and knock on the door. Alexia Bell, Turtle Rescue League's president, lets us in. Once inside, Cy and I carefully step over a knee-high wooden barricade to enter the living room. We are soon met with the reason for this barricade. Pizza Man, a 20-year-old, 12-pound red-footed tortoise with a knobby black and yellow shell, is headed towards us like a slow-motion missile. High-stepping on columnar legs, his toenails tapping softly on the wooden floor, he holds his pale yellow-bottomed shell or plastron tall as he paces determinedly across the room. He stops 2 inches from Cy's feet. He pointedly jerks his wizened-looking head to the right, holds it still for a second, jerks his head back to the center, then jerks it to the left. He then swings his neck back to the center and stares into Cy's face. Such a spirited reaction from a turtle might come as a surprise. While most people like turtles, even many biologists for years dismissed the reptile's intellect as little more sophisticated than that of a pet rock. Because turtles are famously slow and spend considerable amounts of time stock still, it's easy to get the impression they don't think or feel or know much or do much of anything at all. But clearly Pizza Man was giving Cy a signal, and it feels like a welcome. Thank you.